So hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. Following my last video on Mr. Ibu, I would like us to address some important issues arising from this ongoing crisis within his family, particularly the situation of one of his widows, Stella Maris. Now, even before Mr. Ibu passed, one comment kept appearing repeatedly from people who followed this story. And the comments are around, they sound like this. Stella Maris, go and work. You are lazy. You are a liability. Leave your husband's money and go and make your own money. Now, these comments are not new. In fact, they are bigger than Stella Maris. Many women have heard it from their in-laws. Many women have been told by their friends. Many people have heard this. So I would like to use this Mr. Ibu's story as a vantage point to examine this issue and this comment honestly. And doing so, I will also draw from my own life and my personal experience. Stella Maris had 4 kids for Mr. Ibu. She lost one of her children. He was kidnapped, if you remember the story back then. And after his release, he later passed, unfortunately, God rest his soul. And at the point when Stella was being swarmed on and called out as lazy and a liability for her to go and work and leave her husband's money and make her own money, you know, their kids were within those formative years of 8, 6, 8, 11, and you know, that's young. It's not like they were all in the university. And I think that I am in a perfect position to speak about this because I understand both sides. And as I mentioned, I will be sharing my own experience, which you're going to learn from. But before I proceed, a quick reminder, if you're new here, you're seeing my face for the first time, or if you've been watching us without subscribing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It's free of charge. Turn on your bell notification so whenever I post, you will get the alert and you won't say, oh Neze, I missed your video. I didn't know you have posted. So you can get an alert. And you know that if you have notifications, if you are subscribed and you have your notifications and you comment early, it's easier for me to see those comments and even react on them and, you know, make videos on questions that you ask before the comments become so many that I cannot even catch up again. So subscribe, turn on your bell notifications, give the video a big thumbs up, drop your comments down below, join our YouTube community for exclusive videos made just for you on love life, married relationships, self-worth, character building, and a lot that you're going to get from that. You can join by scanning this code over here or joining right here on YouTube. So let's proceed with today's video. I have always encouraged women to try their best to have their own money. I have always been a very resourceful person myself. I started making my own legitimate coins as a teenager. Yeah, I think around 19. Modeling, advertising. I was the face of Airtel at the point. I was the face of Glow at the point. Scanfrost, so many of them. I never did ushering jobs because I just didn't like the look of that, the aura and the perception around that ushering job thing. So I never did it. But I did other modeling, billboards, television commercials. I used what God blessed me with to make income. Radio, voiceover and jingles, things like that, while I was still in the university. And when I graduated, I worked during my NYSC, of course. I did a corporate job during my compulsory youth service. And then I got my first core corporate job, paying job as a practicing lawyer. I know what it is to work hard and to work for money. So I am not the kind of woman that a man will say to, do you know what it takes to bring money? You're just here. Do you know what it takes? I do know what it takes. While I was in active legal practice, I used to live at the mainland of Lagos then, and my law firm, the law firm that I worked at, was on the island of Lagos. Now, if you know Lagos, you know how far the mainland, how 2 different worlds, the mainland and the island, are. So I was commuting through daily intense traffic every day. From the island where I work, I will go to Ikeja to file court processes and appear in court and do research for cases. I remember the time our elevator at work at the high-rising skyscraper where my office was located broke down, right? Now imagine starting your day climbing over 20-something layers of stairs to get to the office. Sometimes we'll be climbing, we'll see able-bodied lawyers, able-bodied men with suits sitting down on the stairs trying to catch their breath, sweating profusely. So I practiced for some time and then moved to the bank job, left Lagos to Port Harcourt, a brand new city and state where I had never been and I didn't have any family and friends. Didn't know anywhere. And I was thrown straight into sales, into marketing. And I will go shop to shop, company to company, selling the bank's products under the scorching sun and in the rain. I have dealt with office politics and nasty bosses and severe work pressure, sleeplessness from not meeting targets, resuming work at 7 a.m. and closing at 9 p.m. Weekend works. I remember back then working at the bank, one of the banks I worked in, where the members of staff were in charge of holding parts of the keys to open the bank. And as a key custodian, you must be at the office at a certain time, very early to open. So operations guys can vault out money and start preparing for customers. And woe betide you, you don't get to work early. You're in big trouble with internal control, queries, all of that. Wahala. Sometimes I will be stuck in traffic to meet up and I will park my car on the road and jump into keke napep tricycle to get to the office to open. And then from banking, I went to insurance that came with its own wahala. So I have experienced working in entertainment business, to legal practice, to banking, to insurance, and to now being self-employed. So I am telling you this. So when I speak, you do not tell me, Barrister Neze, you wouldn't understand what it takes to. When it comes to work and making money, you cannot school me. I would school you. I know what it takes and I know the life. Now, on the other side of it, caring for the home, nurturing the family, being a homemaker, I am actually more of that than I am and will ever be a career woman. A huge part of my joy, passion, and fulfillment comes from being a mother and a wife. I am deeply family oriented and I do not joke with that part of my life. I genuinely enjoy creating and building a home, caring for my family and making sure that everyone and everything is fine and functioning. So when I speak on this part, so I am not speaking from theory. I understand it personally because it is a major part of who I am. Those of you who have followed me or who know of me know that I have 4 children. When we relocated abroad, my first was barely 8 and my last was just 7 months. I know what it means to raise a family, to almost die, to bring life, to be sick throughout pregnancy, throughout the 9 months of pregnancy, to watch your body change forever, to weep while your nipples bleed and your womb contracts as you breastfeed, to stay up all night because the new baby would not sleep. I know what it is to remember immunizations and ensure you do not miss one, to clean circumcision wounds, to sleep on hospital floors, to nurture, to pray on end for sick children, to manage a baby who is a picky eater, to change diapers in the middle of a meal. I know what it is to have puke, to have someone puke right inside your mouth. I know what it takes to potty train toddlers, to have a fire truck thrown on your skull from nowhere while your assailant laughs. I know the standing outside nervous as a child gets surgery, to have your arm twisted at an awkward position and you cannot move because the baby will wake up. I know the big sacrifices and I know the small everyday ones that you cannot just explain, because now who go know the inexplicable everyday sacrifices, and challenges. I know what it takes to nurture, to be there at school events, to intentionally teach them morals, to settle siblings' fights daily, to follow up on their academics and position them for success. I know the patience, the pain, the physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion of having another human being or other human beings, plural, depending on you for survival. I cannot mention the enormous responsibilities and intricacies of day-to-day raising of children, let alone when you have 3, 4, 5. So when it comes to motherhood and parenting, you can't explain to me. I have first-hand experience of what it takes. Now, having spoken about these two sides of the divide, as someone who has experienced both sides and understands what each one truly demands, I am truly annoyed when society describes the person doing the second kind of work as a liability. Please, what exactly do you mean by liability? Because one person's contribution comes with a salary at the end of the month. Their work is respected. But the person handling the core, the main cocoa, what will be important at the end of the day? The person handling the children, the nurturing, the cooking, cleaning, instilling values, running the home, and making sure that the whole family does not fall apart is suddenly lazy and useless. So because their own work doesn't come with a pay slip at the end of the month, they have no value. Wonderful. Do you know how many families would completely collapse without that person quietly holding everything together behind the scenes? How many psychopaths and sociopaths we would have in society attending good schools and wearing good clothes if that person regulating the home and behavior is not there to discharge that function? Do you know? I don't blame us. It's not our fault. We are in a society that places value on only money. That's why a young girl can go to Dubai and sleep with dogs, but as long as she buys a G-Wagon, she's respected, more respected than a girl that is schooling and getting good grades. And a boy would defraud others into suicide and Christian his actions Yahoo, and you see him being highly placed. All you have to do is just show that you are the one bringing money, and that's the only sign of respect. And that's why our society is decayed. A man and a woman enters a marriage and they have children. Both of them have those children. Those children are the responsibilities of the both parents. The home that they are building is the responsibility of both parents. But in some families, one person, in most cases, and in this case, the woman, takes on almost all of that responsibility, creating the space and the avenue for the other person to pursue career without major interruptions. He can travel for conferences without worrying about who would watch the children. He can go to work and return late or return weeks after to a clean house and warm food and washed clothes. The children are taken to school and brought back home, cared for when they are sick, accompanied to the hospital, all because somebody else is standing in that gap. Her unpaid labor is what makes his paid labor possible. Yet, when he earns money, society calls it his money. But the children that she's sacrificing her time, her career, opportunities to raise are not called her own children. Seems that is her own area of concentration. They are called his children or their children. So the income belongs to him, but the real life burden of producing the stability that enabled him to earn it belongs to her. Please, how does that even make sense? Some of you may say, but Neze, from what you described, you did it, you do it. Why can't you go out there and work and make her own money and hold the home too and do this? Do you know the kind of environment and support that I enjoy from my own spouse to make that possible? That a Mr. Ibu or a you will not give your own wife. Listen, the person who goes out to make money deserves to be appreciated, because it is not easy to make money. Likewise, the person holding down the home front also deserves appreciation. Neither of the roles is easy. And this conversation is something that I wanted us to have generally, not particularly because of Stella, because there may be some questions on how responsible and prudent this particular lady is, which we may discuss in another video. But what I'm trying to buttress here is how generally our society quickly diminish the role of home building, calling people doing that liabilities, because it cannot be measured in naira and kobo. Let me tell you something. It is always sweet to look at what someone else is doing and assume it to be easy until you are the one doing it. Like this thing I'm doing on YouTube now. Some people might lie down here and be watching it, this 20-minute clip, and think it's easy, and say all these people are just easy on internet making money. Until you come and do it, then you know that you cannot do it. It is easy to downplay what another person's job, because you are not the one doing it. We have seen dads lose their minds. Dads lose their minds when their wives leave them for just one day with 3 toddlers. You see the man calling, begging, "Baby, when are you coming back? Where are you? Baby, where are you? Hey, stop that. Calm down. Baby, please come back home." Just one day. But the woman does it every day. So going out to work comes with its own pressure. But raising children, managing a home, making sure that everything and everyone keeps running is also real work. And you may say, is she the one doing it? After all, there is house help. After all, there is house help. House help will raise your children. I'm not saying that they are below par. I'm saying the intricate care that only a mother can give. The mental monitoring that only she can give. The spiritual guidance and interceding that only a mother can do. The moral upbringing and passing down of family values that you cannot sublet to someone else. The responsibilities that those kids will not even let you delegate. The overseeing eyes. I remember the story of an 8-year-old baby. They had a house help. I think they even had 2. And a lesson teacher right there in the house where there were house helps, a lesson teacher came, and as he's teaching her something in lesson, he's using his finger to touch her, to put inside her VJ. The baby didn't have sex education, so she was so scared to tell her mother, and that lesson teacher was sexually assaulting the baby with the helps. I tell you, I put it to you, that only that baby's mother would have been watching over that baby like a hawk. What house help are you talking about? Even if a home has 5 helps, you see the overall overseeing of the running and the functioning of that home, thinking 24/7 to ensure that everything gets done at the time it's supposed to get done, carrying the mental administrative task and burden, not just the physical burden, that even when you are sleeping, even when you are doing kerewa with your husband, you are thinking, calculating, putting into pieces of puzzles. Don't ever joke with that role. A woman who manages the home and raises the children is not doing nothing. She is not jobless or lazy. She is contributing. She is contributing labor, time, energy, opportunities to the family. She may not receive salary, but her work has real economic value. Without her support, the man may never have been able to build that career without worrying about domestic responsibilities. He may not be able to travel freely with relaxed mind and earn at the same level that he is earning. She sourced for and went to find a carpenter, opened the door to let the cable guy in, showed the plumber the leakage in the house, bargained with the electrician, supervised the painter, while you worked at ease and didn't have to take permission from the office to oversee that. Attended parents-teachers meetings, represented the child at the school's inter-house sports, was there cheering on and screaming on top of her lungs on career day, drove 5 miles to go get Superman jackets, on costume day, while you smiled at the office as she sent you pictures of the events. You didn't have to cut down your hours to attend. A parent, another human being, stood in for you, and there was no vacuum in that child's life. And tomorrow, it doesn't work out between both of you, and you kick her out with nothing, absolutely nothing, and enjoy the wealth built from her labor and sacrifice and call it yours. Can you see that God can punish you? Because many of us in this part of the world do not understand what marriage is. So, when wealth is created during a marriage, it is wickedness to ignore the part that the other party played that helped in creating that wealth, just because it cannot be measured in dollar and cents. You cannot treat the children and the household as joint responsibilities when convenient, and then treat the money as one person's private achievements. So, what do you mean by her husband's money, Mr. Ibu's money? When the Mr. Ibu in question went freely from set to set, state to state, and city to city, acting away from his home for months and impregnating several women all across the globe while at it, somebody stayed back home, taking away the other side of responsibilities that were also his. And that is why I laugh when many of our brothers with this myopic mindset, when I see them furious when they hear that a person received marital settlement abroad, their immediate reaction is, for what? Why should she share his money? Why should she share his money? The law in saner countries recognizes that marriage is an economic partnership. It does not look only at who received the salary. It also considers who created the environment and the stability that made earning that salary possible. And this, what I'm talking about, is regardless of gender. I'm just saying woman and man because most times, more often, it is the women who stay back to nurture. Most men would not even want that role. So it is not a question of man and woman. If it is the man who stayed back to hold the home front down for you, the woman, to move and fly, woman, that money is not yours. It's not your money alone. You cannot call the children our children, call the home our home, call the duty our responsibility, but suddenly call the wealth my money. Oh, Allah, it is madness. After benefiting from another person's years of covering in the gap and sacrifice. Now, despite understanding and defending the enormous value and efforts that goes into homemaking, why then, you may ask, am I still such a strong advocate of women having financial freedom? Why do I still encourage women to work, to earn something, to maintain some level of financial independence? It is not because I believe that a woman who stays at home to raise children and keep the home front solid and together is lazy or unproductive. That is not my belief. Caring for the children, managing a home, and supporting a spouse's career are serious responsibilities and contributions. And in an ideal world where people remain kind, faithful, responsible, and fair, where cultures are considerate, that arrangement can be beautiful. But unfortunately, we do not live in an ideal world. People change. Marriages break down. Illnesses happen. Premature and sudden deaths can occur. Families intervene. Educated men with sense still complicate their lives with polygamy. That is why financial capacity is not merely about money. It is also about protection. I'll tell you. First, there is the risk, heightened risk of abuse. A woman who has no income, no savings, nowhere to go, may remain in a dangerous situation because living could mean homelessness or hunger for herself and for her children. Those perfect mummies in the marriage of those days that they are quoting for us were mostly stranded women. If they had opportunities that are available for women now, the divorce those days would have even superseded the one of these days. They were helpless women. Secondly, many men from where we are from still operate with the myopic mentality of it is my money. They don't see life and things the way I am explaining it. They bask in enjoying the woman's unpaid labor while treating every naira they earn as their own private property. When conflict arise, the same woman who helped to build the home while he had the free way to fly will suddenly be reminded that she owns nothing and that the money is what? His own, my own sweat. That is the reality of where we are. And you will not have strong structures and systems that will protect you as other sane places that understand things the right way. Thirdly, our culture hardly protects women. Who made the cultures? The God writes in a plate, okay, Igbo people, this is your culture. Yeah, take. This is from God Almighty. It is men that made the culture now. Even if it was women that made cultures, we will make the ones that will favor us. It is human nature. So those things they are calling cultures, even the oppressive ones, the stupid ones, they were made by men. And of course, when you are making anything, you will make it to favor you now, to suit yourself. So our cultures do not favor women or protect women. When the women start talking, when the women start going to school or opening bank accounts, when the women start occupying positions of what in economy, politics, when? So our cultures were made by men for men, and they do not protect women. Look at the chaos that can follow polygamous arrangements that are being pushed as our culture. Look at the battles that erupt after a man dies. Look at the drama following this Mr. Abel's death. So when you are in an environment and a society like that, you cannot compare yourself to a European woman and say, after all, this is a housewife. Your mentor is a white woman. Forgetting that your situation will not be the same as that white woman's own when the chips are down. The white woman has legal protection that you do not. These are the reasons why I always encourage women to have their thing. Fourthly, money improves a woman's ability to make choices. When you have money, you can say no. It's not like you'll be stubborn or you'll become aggressive or silly or difficult. But you have a voice, you have a say. When a woman has money, she can seek medical care. All those rubbish of my husband refused to sign a CS form. It's most times with women that cannot offset their own bills. When you can offset your medical bills. Who born the monkey that will say he can't sign consent form for you to have a cesarean section when your life is at stake? But when the man says, if you do that CS, I will not pay for it. You see the woman dying there because she doesn't have option. Do you know how having no help financially can render you incapacitated? But when you have your own, you can get medical care. If a man says, we'll wait for eternity, don't worry, let us wait 20 years to have a child, and you have money for IVF, you can persuade that decision and say, baby, let us have IVF. Because you have mouth, you can pay for it. But when you are dependent on that man to bring money for it, he can keep you there for 20 years. When you reach perimenopause or menopause, he will go and marry another woman. When they say money stops bullshit, it's not about money makes you arrogant. It's about the choices it can afford you. Money can make you live an unsafe environment. Educate your children. Support your own family. I do not need to account every naira and kobo for what I do for my father. Or if I want to help my brother. Or if I want to spoil my mother-in-law. I do not need to. It can even give you the opportunity to help others. Charity. I can help others. That does not mean I'm not accountable to my spouse. But I can tell him, baby, see, this person has surgery. Let us help them. He won't say out of which money. Because I can help others. And get that fulfillment, that sense of purpose as a human being. Offering assistance to others. And making certain decisions without begging for permission for everything and for every basic need. That is why money, financial capacity can help a woman preserve her autonomy and her dignity. When a woman does not have money of her own, her this thing will suffer. Yes, money does not create human worth. You need to have self-worth on your own, but it can protect your worth. It can protect you from humiliation and dependency. We watched a grown woman like Stella Maris kneeling down before a small girl that has not even gotten married, talk less of having children, a young girl of 20. We watched Stella of 40-something kneeling down on all fours, a child that she can give birth to. Why? Because of financial need. Can you see the way that young content creator was just shouting at her and embarrassing her? When you are begging for food, you don't have shame now, you don't have pride, you don't have dignity. People will treat you anyhow. Who is kneeling Junior Pope's wife down? Because she has something doing. She's not begging. She's a widow too, just like Mr. Ibu's wife. But the difference is that she protected her dignity and the image of her husband because she is financially capable to care for herself now that life has thrown her something she didn't expect. We saw Mr. Ibu's children with Stella Maris being moved from podcast to podcast and exposed unnecessarily for public entertainment. Why? Because the mother cannot hold it down. If the mother can hold it down financially, she will protect her children from that rubbish. So when I encourage women to earn or to have savings and investments, I am not looking down on homemakers. I am acknowledging reality. And on that note, I want to encourage every woman. Do not allow yourself to become completely financially handicapped or stranded. You may choose to focus on your home and your children, and that work is valuable, but still try to have something to maintain some income, even if it's not a monthly income, to have some savings, some skill, some investment, some assets. I also want to encourage Stella Maris to please brace herself up and rebuild her life and become financially capable. Her husband has passed. She needs to wake up to reality because people may be able to help her during a crisis, but she cannot depend on donations and handouts or public sympathy to train her children all the way to university into adulthood. For how long will she continue begging whenever school fees, rent, food, or medical bills arise? How long? It's not sustainable. Before she knows it, those men that prey on helpless widows will swam her and make a mess of her. So this is not about shaming her. It is about acknowledging that sympathy is temporary, but responsibilities is permanent. It's continuous. She needs sustainable work, a business, a marketable skill, or another dependable source of income that can give her and her children some stability, and not just only stability, prestige. Financial capacity is not a declaration of war against marriage. And any man that sees his woman being financially capable as a threat to his manhood or to his marriage, that man is a dangerous person. It is simply a preparation for life. Women, please, let us build our homes. When it comes to building homes, I'm a proper Igbo woman. Oh. I build my home solid. You can't tell me anything about building the home, holding the home together. Abumwada, my dear. So I encourage women to build their homes, but we must not disappear inside. While at it, support your family, but do not leave your entire survival in another person's hands. Please. Because it gets why. So my darlings, we have come to the end of today's video. I hope you did get something from it. I hope you did learn something. If you are new here, you are seeing my face for the first time, or if you've been watching us without subscribing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, drop your thoughts down in the comment section, and stay glued for we have so much more coming your way. Don't forget to grab a copy of our book, The Unbroken Spirit. There is so much you're going to learn from it when it comes to love, marriage, relationships, and abuse. I am particularly happy that we covered extensively. In fact, we have a full chapter on financial abuse in relation to what we are saying about money. So grab a copy. There are soft copies and hard copies. All the links to purchase will be pinned down in the comment section and of course in the description box. Thank you so much guys for watching. I'll see you guys in our next one. It's me, your girl Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville.